Hello, beloved human family. I am Gilles Mansillon. I come to you very briefly today to say hello, to send greetings and blessings. I hope you're enjoying this wonderful day. We are very close to a full moon in Leo, so that will be definitely enhancing the potential for knowing exactly what we want, because Leo is our own individuality. It is our sovereign self. It is the last card of the individual houses and constellation. And then this will activate all kinds of things that will be completely, not completely, but there will be amazing transformation that will be possible by the 26th, by the new moon new moon eclipse in Pisces. It's a solar eclipse, but it's during the new moon. So it's going to be a great deal of opportunity to upgrade everything, to move into a higher level, and also that's going to force a lot of things to change. There is a great deal of push-pull, but we have to find balance and harmony within all things. For chaos is part of the process, but you do not have to be participating. It's like being in the eye of the hurricane. It's always the same concept. Whenever there is chaos, it's just to find the inner center where everything is calm. And so those energies that are coming this year are going to push the final shift into the transformative process of the human consciousness. And right now I'm very happy, very pleased to see, although what is going on in the United States with Mr. Trump, although his policies, like I said, are not necessarily what I would enjoy to see, but he's doing something ever so much more essential, more powerful. It's no longer about Democrat and Republican. It is Trump versus the media, and the media has been for a very long time creating scenario to keep humanity under frequency control and the fear, and this is a manipulation that even honest journalists couldn't really bring about all those good news, because the editorial line would not the chief of the direction would not allow them, so they have to follow something. But as soon as we can re-establish a line of truth in relationship to the media will be free. There will be a great deal of more information that will pass through, and there is all kinds of things that are happening that will remove all the obstacles that stand between humanity and peace on the planet. For peace, poverty, and environmental destruction. We want to achieve peace, we want to eliminate poverty, and we want to restore the planet to its original states, and from there we'll be discovering new things. But for a very long time, the scenarios of this world has been like big blocks that were confronting forcefully each other in order to gain territory or resources, or like China, like America, like Russia, Europe, but I do think that Europe is going to have to review his whole agenda, because right now it's seeing itself as completely disempowered in the middle of bigger powers that are enemies, and so this is a completely wrong attitude. For if you seek enemies, you will create that, and it is not a way to go. The idea is to create a new system that will be shifting and will be manifesting. Also, we'll see that coming. It is a new organization for peace and global harmony in relationship to the major blocs, which are Russia, America, and China. And China will probably lead that whole unification process. Europe has to redefine its whole structure. We're going to help them, but it has to rethink its all functioning method. It's just, and you will have to incorporate Russia. For Turkey wanted to come into the European Union, but essentially, except for Istanbul, Turkey is an Asian, a Middle Eastern Asian country. It's Persian. I mean, there is all kinds of historical. I mean, it could work in terms of administration, but it's not really in terms of culture. But it's very, very difficult for me to even envision the possibility of Europe existing outside of Russia. For Russia is the biggest country in the world, and all its history is European. But Russia will demand a Europe that is far more intelligent in its functioning, and from there, once we are able to reconnect with that Europe, will be able to create a balanced harmony between China and America, and there will be a lot more a lot more peace in the world, but those may take time because of the mentality. You do want to meditate on peace. You want to send peace to all beings, to always concentrate on what you want, on finding a world that is will be better for the children. For the children are the most important things that we have in society. For they are the ones that we are creating the world for, and they will be carrying on that work. And so we have to move from the old scenario of fear and separation and move into love, unity, and peace and joy. Of course, the world is not perfect. There is all kinds of things that we'll have to deal with in this process of evolution. But this is what the world was created for. It's for evolution purpose, so that we can learn and grow and become better and more, and then we're going to become aware of all kinds of things on the planet. One of those things that will become more aware is the consciousness of beings such as crystals. For those are little crystals. I came back with me from Brazil, so they are essentially, this is quartz crystals, and this is an amethyst, which is also quartz, and then the rose quartz. Amethyst should be kept in the dark, but they're really good for enhancing dreams, the dream states. When you dream, they can help you with bringing back your dream. If you want to work with crystals, those are little beings, they're little entities, they're very neutral, they're very wise, they have about 100 million years of life and evolution. The bigger they are, the longer they've been, the older they are, and the bigger they are, because they continue to grow. Essentially, those crystals can be filled with light, with sunlight. The most powerful and potent way, if you want to work with crystal, working with rose quartz, you fill it up with sun, you leave it in the sun, you will accumulate the sun and give you back this light of the sun. It's pretty powerful, so you do have to be careful. So crystal will eventually be very useful in the future of technology, for we are about to move in a crystalline fifth dimensional reality where all things will be crystalline, and so the crystals will be we could be able to use new forms of crystals as catalysts for all of our societal needs. For now, they are reminding us of this crystalline process of this crystallization of our cellular process, the opening of our DNA. The crystals are very, very powerful. So you want to, if maybe you know, maybe you don't know, maybe you've been using them. For everybody's got different relationship to all those things, but the mineral kingdom is fundamental. It's primal to material life, and so you can use those. Like if you would hold two crystals, for instance, that will whenever you have thoughts or intention, it multiplies it by 5, by 10. It makes it much more powerful. So when you go into meditation and with the intention of connecting to your guides, for instance, or connecting to the spirits, you may want to use those crystals to reinforce your aura, your energy field. For that's why they are able to strengthen, and it's like magnified everything. So also to use with telepathy, but be very careful if you use with telepathy, because a crystal, if you have conscious or unconscious negative intention or negative emotion when you send a telepathic thought, you will make it 10 times more powerful, and you can hurt people with just thought, with crystals, because the thoughts are becoming much more powerful. So the idea is to be able to cleanse your crystals, because if you also want to work with crystals with the best of intention, and you're carrying a crystal, but then there's something that troubles you, you have a negative intention, then you push then you feel it, you put the crystal down, the next day you pick up the crystal and you get this negative intention, but this negative feeling, but you don't know why. It's because the crystal will reserve you this as a mirror. It will mirror you, whatever you implanted within it. So you want to wash them in clear water or salt water, depending on the crystal, regularly, so that they're clear and pure and they can serve you. They exist in two forms, either closed or open. Most of the crystals on the earth have been closed after the fall of Atlantis. For Atlantis it was the misuse of the Arcturian crystal, the second moon of Atlantis, that created a destruction of the society when it was taken over by certain factions. And so in order not to repeat the same mistakes, those who control this world on a higher plane, the celestial plane, have created certain boundaries and protective measures, so that crystal can only give out their power when someone is ready to use it for good. So But all the crystals are reawakening, and some of the sacred crystals of Atlantis, which were preserved secretly, will be reactivated. Right now, they're all hidden in hidden places, but they will be reactivated to accelerate the sort of metatronic process of crystallization. And so, if you want to communicate with crystals, the best way is probably rose quartz. It's very warm energy. Also, like if we plant a crystal, it will grow. Of course, it will take a very, very long time for it to grow. But if you plant a crystal, not only because in places that are more advanced, people do not take the crystals out of the planet. They use whatever crystals comes out. Is a place to gather where people can use the crystal, because the crystals are most powerful when they're connected to the earth. So if you can plant a crystal in the earth, if you have a big crystal and you plant it on the earth and then you open it, you create a field of energies that will be able to rediscover this kind of technology really soon. And also, what was I going to say about those? Well, they're all very individual. They all have their, but they have little inclusion, as you see, the natural quartz crystals. And in the future, we're going to want to develop technologies that are utilizing crystal. But we will be able to grow crystal in accelerated fashion under certain very specific conditions, so they will be completely pure with certain programmation that they will be able to be highly serviceable to us. This will be the next level of technological development that we'll be seeing after this electronic kind of system of technology. All of this will come into the pictures. For the crystals are very, very important. They will. It's very good. I always enjoy working with them. They're even if I don't have any specific mission to give them. Sometimes you can also make them work, but they're very good to emphasize and make your thoughts stronger. The only thing is you have to really. It forces you to be very, very cautious of your thoughts and intention when you use the crystal. I'm going to pull out a few cards as a guidance for the day. So the highest wisdom that is available for us today is the higher self. The higher self is essentially the soul. The soul is ourself, is a higher self. It's the eternal self that we are seeking to reconnect to, and it's also connected to our group soul. It is not just an individual connection, but it is a higher connection. Our higher self connects us to our guide and to our oversoul, our God self. And so this higher self is descending right now, so that to give us the opportunity to feel it out, to integrate it. So just feel good with all those energies that are given to you. What is it that we need to understand is the healer. We need to allow the healing to happen, to make suffering intolerable. Suffering, the only reason we suffer is to come out of it. There is no reason to linger in suffering. So let's put an end to it, and provide this understanding for others, so they can come out of their suffering. What we need to do is responsibility. There is certain things that we need to do. We all know what we need to do, and so we have to fulfill our responsibility, our duty. By fulfilling this duty, we'll find a sense of fulfillment, contentment. And then the general message for us today is intuition. Intuition is a card that tells us that we have to follow the whatever guidance, whatever inner voice we have, and to be as much as possible to stick to it. Even if you cannot. Once you find the guidance is always clear, but you're not always able to be 100% on top of it, maybe for some reason we are still growing into that. And so just continue to follow your intuition, connect to your higher self, allow the healing to happen, and you will find that all those responsibilities will not be burdensome, but will be joy, because they will bring joy in having this possibility to carry that function, whatever that is. Well, thank you very much for your presence, for your subscription, for your sharing, your comments. I will be returning shortly. I wish you a wonderful full moon in Leo, and I'll talk to you later. Namaste.